We want to thank everybody who has logged in. We will probably have people who are logging in throughout the session, and that's cool too, but they will miss my intro. But that's fine. It's pretty much the typical thing that you're used to. This is the Learning Lounge from Agent Career Education, otherwise known as ACE. This is something we do once a month. We may end up doing it more often than that, but we have found it to be extremely helpful to agents and brokers out there in the real estate population. And one of the important reasons is that this isn't just handing you scripts and doing the typical stuff that you may see from your broker or other coaches. It's a very different approach. So, welcome to the Learning Lounge. Thanks for logging in. Just a second or two on why we do this and who we are. We're a group of past real estate agents and professionals and brokers. Most of us are still licensed, and we became very disturbed by the 80% failure rates of agents that are coming into the business. And we said, we got to do something about it. So we're less active as real estate salespeople than we were in our careers. We really have focused our time, energy, and brains on helping agents learn to be better business people. And it's something that has struck a chord in the industry. So that's why we're here. A couple of things about this meeting. We don't share any of this stuff with brokers or team leaders. We have no incentive to do so. We're here for you, and we're here to communicate some good stuff out into the population. So if you have any concerns about that, please don't. It's not going to happen. Some guidelines for our session. My name is Stu Morse. I am the Chief Education and Strategic Officer for the company, and I'll be the moderator today. I get to ring the bell or hit the gong when we're going a little bit long, but we will stay hard to have a hard stop at the hour because we know you guys have businesses to run, and we want to respect that. So that's part of my job, is to make sure we stay on it, and we've got a bunch of good stuff to go through today. Names are not important. So if we discuss things, we're not going to name specific brokers or companies or whatever. And if you want to jump in on a chat and ask a question or something, we don't care about the names. Or even if you're dealing with another agent and you want a question about that, that's not what's important. So we're not here to trash anybody. But remember, this is a safe place to talk and to ask silly questions. My God, we've all asked them. We get it. We know it. So don't be afraid of that, because that's what makes everybody learn even better. I did mention, if you have a comment or a question, jump in on the chat. We'll do the best we can to address that for you. So we pull a lot of stuff from the marketplace. We are all over Reddit, and we like to believe this is kind of like a live Reddit session where people pop on and talk about stuff. But we also have a lot of agents that we talk to, not in real time, who are out there and experiencing things that are frustrating them, and we pull from that. So the way we like you to think about this is like, we're your mentor. We're sitting in the car next to you. We're driving around doing open houses and looking at property, and we're talking about the business. And it's really not one of these mega authority things. We're here as your friends and your experienced digital mentors. So without any further ado, I would like to introduce the ACE leadership team who is on the meeting with us. There is a little bit of noise coming in from somebody who needs to mute. Just want to ask you to do that if that's okay. I'm Stu Morse. I'm the Chief Education and Strategic Officer for the company. We also have Ellen Barsky here, who is our Chief Creative Learning Officer. Ellen, there you go. Wave, Ellen. She's our language and course guru. Next, Barry Nicholas. Barry, raise your hand. He is our Chief Operations and Admissions Officer. And then last but certainly not least, Fred Bruni, who is our Chief Marketing and Communications Officer. It's really great that we can get ourselves in this one digital room to go through these meetings. So we appreciate you guys, as I said, signing in. But let's get into it. The topic that we want to talk about today has to do with ending the year. All right, we're coming to the end of 2025. It's post-mortem time, and our heading was, are you satisfied with your business the way it's turning out? Is it going to be a superstar top producer year for you, or a dumpster fire? And we get it. It is tough out there. The real estate business is not an easy business to compete in. And when we say dumpster fire, we've all had crappy years. Okay. So we're not meaning to imply it's everybody out there, but we are serious about the fact that it is tough going out there. One final comment before I throw it to the group. We're not big coaching. We're not a bunch of brokers trying to, as I said, feed you scripts or to tell you to go out and door knock or you're going to do 50 more calls this week. None of that. We're going to try to give you some insights that bubble up in businesses for those of us and those we've worked with that have been very successful, that is in between the lines of all that stuff. So without further ado, I would like to turn it over to Fred, our chief marketing guru, and he's going to talk a little bit about social media. And we call that a dangerous drug. And why don't you tell us why, Fred?
Well, Stu, thanks for that very awesome and kind intro. This time of the morning, this time of day, who wants to hear from the marketing guy about social media, right? But as the marketing guy here, usually my job is to tell you to get loud. But looking back at 2025, I'm seeing a lot of agents getting really loud, but in the wrong rooms. So what we're going to talk about a little bit today is the difference between being famous online and being paid. So we've got a few talking points, and in the middle of these talking points, we're just going to talk amongst ourselves and see what gets generated here. But right out of the gate, first and foremost, we have a vanity metric fallacy. So one thing I'll say about that immediately is that you cannot pay your mortgage, friends, with emojis and likes. So there's no way that's going to happen for you. So when you see agents out there celebrating we hit 1,000 views, man, 5,000 likes, man, it's so cool, right? It's really awesome. But what that does, it's really only triggering the same things that your favorite grilled cheese or a lovely chocolate with almonds would trigger. It's just dopamine receptor sites and you winning the slot machine. Because really, all this time that you're spending on social, when you analyze it, when you break it down, what's really happening in your business? See, because there's two different worlds. There's the social world, and then there's your business world. So when you audit your books after doing everything you did this year, and you're auditing your social media campaigns, it's very important to ask yourself, okay, wait, I have all these people, I have 5,000 friends. Everybody liked this post. So cool. Well, how many of them signed a buyer broker agreement? How many of them did you take to go see a property? How many conversations did you really start? See, those are the important metrics. And, if you spent a lot of time doing that and got a big goose egg, you got a 0 there, well, then that wasn't lead generation. It was just entertainment.
Fred, the way we've also talked about this in terms of broad strokes marketing, you're generating all this awareness, and that's fine. They're aware that you're out there, but you also have to generate what we call in classic marketing purchase intent, meaning they can know your name, they can know it's Tide detergent, but if you haven't motivated someone to go buy it, it doesn't matter how many people know you're out there. So when you're online, think about that. You're getting clicks, you're getting likes. That's generating awareness, and that's good. You got to get in the room. But if you're not motivating them to give you their personal information so you can make a real-time phone call, or to allow you to start sending neighborhood analysis or inviting them to open houses, it doesn't matter. They're not in your sphere yet, right? Barry, you got a comment.
Yeah, no, totally agree. And what's funny when you brought up, Fred, about clicks and emojis don't really equate into a paycheck. The other day I'm scrolling through Instagram, and there was an agent who was on roller skates in a tutu in an open house with a champagne bottle rolling around, and I'm watching this and I'm like, okay, I remember her now, yes, but not in a good way. Because she's cute and funny, but would I want this person listing my house if I was a homeowner? I don't know, maybe not, but I think that one probably pushed the line a little bit. So being mindful of what.
Well, Barry.
Lots of likes, great. Yeah, I'm sure she did, but
gimmicks.
How much damage did that do, really? I don't know.
Gimmicks may generate awareness, like you've said, but the quality of what that is may hurt her ability to be perceived as
Definitely.
a serious real estate professional who's going to handle the most important financial transaction a client has.
Right.
I wouldn't want this tutu lady. I may think she's wonderful and a great friend to have at a cocktail party, but I don't want her walking up to potential other agents or other buyers and trying to be serious, right?
No, and speaking of professionals, professionals at this level who want to achieve, who are already at a certain level, most of them talk about, in certain conversations, how much they're making an hour. Well, if this agent does that particular audit and realizes that their hourly rate for working on social was $0, well, welcome to the dumpster fire. That is
Yeah.
exactly what that is. And we touched a little bit right now on my second point, and I'm glad you all did that because it makes this easier for me. But you mentioned that social media is a safe space. That's exactly what it is. It's the only place where you can work for hours and hours and not get a devastating rejection, like a devastating no. You can share all kinds of stuff, but they don't even have to do with real estate. You can be sharing on your real estate pages the junk with no value, but people will like it. They'll affirm you. They'll affirm whatever your choice to share was. But what happens here is agents are straying away from cold, hard reality rejection. So when you go door knock, what happens, right? You get that reaction right there. You get the door slammed, you get through the ring. Hey, just quit bothering me. Don't you read the sign? No soliciting, whatever. But and when you're cold calling as well, you get rejected right there. But when you're in fantasy land, in social media land, nobody tells you no. It's all rainbows and unicorns. It's a great place. Confetti. Everybody loved my reel. So I think really what happens there is you get what they call a false positive feedback loop, and you're just getting the warm air in the wrong place. Just everybody's filling your head with all these ideas, and you avoid what in real estate is a sales conversation.
Yeah, Fred.
If you want to avoid sales conversations, keep that up.
That's a great point. I've got a couple other videos that are posted on our site that talk about dealing with rejection. And the reality is few people learn this when they get their license, and they start to learn it when they get into a brokerage. But even brokers and coaches don't teach this. Our business is one where you get 90% rejection versus 10% positive feedback. And I'm making those percentages up. But the bottom line is most of the time people are going to say no. No, thank you. I like you, but no, thank you. I've got another realtor. I'm going to give the business to my wife's first cousin. Whatever they say. And we have to, as realtors, need to learn to deal with that. But if you're in the world of social media, everybody likes you. So it makes you feel good. So at the end of your day, well, I didn't put anybody into my sphere of influence, but 100 people think I'm wonderful. That makes you feel good. You had a good day, right? No, you didn't grow your business a stitch.
At all. And it's important to really go into your social media and look at who your audience is made up of, because oftentimes we spend time in what's called the agent echo chamber, right? Are you trying to sell houses, or are you trying to impress your competition, right? Because they're out there. And what are you doing? Well, if 80% of your engagement is coming from other real estate agents, it's a lose-lose situation there for you. You're just spinning your wheels there. Other agents aren't buying houses from you. You're either giving them ideas or giving them your farm. So I would really caution against that, Barry.
Well, I was just going to point out now, if you have a new listing, you're an agent with a new listing and you're promoting it out there on social media, and you have a lot of other agents who follow you, yes, then at that point, that is something good. Yeah. But other types of social that may or may not benefit anybody involved. And also, don't you think if in social media, an agent should be doing something that provides value to
Barry,
as opposed to the roller skating tutu. I mean, I keep going back to that because that's etched in my head. But I mean, providing value, I think would be. Go ahead.
100%. They get caught up in all the good feelings, and then look what I'm showing to all the other agents. They're liking. I have all this. Look at my influence, right? Going back to the influencer draft. But what they have to recognize at this point, if you have majority audience of just agents, and very little, prospects, well, then you're sharing the wrong type of content. Because here's what you got to do. If you're doing what Barry Matthew Nicholas just said, broker Barry, if you are sharing the right valuable things and staying away from the fancy jargon and all the content that from the industry that agents like and understand, and you're not giving civilians what they need, a home buyer, a home seller, what they need. Like for instance, here's how you buy down a rate. Here's a special neighborhood tour, things like that. That's valuable. But all this other junk to impress your peers, you'll be out of the business in no time.
Yeah, Barry, you made me think of another way to think about this is too. Your message to social media and going out needs to adjust according to the mission and your target. Now, when you have a listing, you have a very specific job to do. You have a listing client, you've got a house or a property to sell. That is transactional. You need to get the awareness out. You need to let as many people know. I mean, that's what the MLS helps you do, right? But that is a very specific job. That is a different communication strategy and execution than selling yourself to gain clients into your sphere. That's less transactional. That floats more to what you're talking about, Fred. And that's how are you providing value as a broader professional, as a consultant in this business, that eventually you want some of these people to say, you know what, that guy, Fred, he's smart. He doesn't quit. He's not wasting my time. Honey, let's give him a call. I think we need to list our house, and I'd like Fred to come in and talk to us. That's a different target than that transactional target. I got a house to sell in 30
Fred
days.
established trust.
Yeah.
That's what got that. I only have one more point, guys, we'll wrap up the social.
Okay.
But the strategy,
Right on time, by the way.
oh, fantastic, right? The pivot for 2026. Here's a real good tool, and I'm going to just point back to Barry again because Barry has told me this before. Trying to remember this really cool quote. Okay, yes. Post and ghost is dead. Post and prose or post and praise is the new standard. So people smell BS and someone that's not authentic, fakers. So if you're going in there and you're just writing what you want to write and you get out and you're only for you, you're not going to get anywhere. You're not going to get any engagement. If you post, you go around, make comments, talk to people, start conversations. That's the new metric. Okay. It's not how many likes, how many conversations did I start on social? That is the effective thing. And one last thing that just really stuck with me, and I hope this starts a little conversation, sidebar. Being an influencer is a full-time job. Being a top producer is a full-time job. You can't do both, agents. You can't do both. And that is my last mic drop moment for you here this morning with social.
Awesome. Thanks, Fred. Now, this is the fun part. If you did a good job, you get the applause. If you're running over time, you get the gong. Let's see what happens.
All right.
You Stu. I was sweating.
Just so you know, I'm not faking with the gong. Here we go. All right, Barry, now you know what the downside is, okay?
Yeah,
So-
I have a feeling.
Going into it, man.
And you know what? We like to have fun. We believe that real estate is a higher calling, but it is a fun business. Barry, you've got some cool stuff to talk to. You're going to talk about what we define as doing a digital detox. And this is the time of year when this could be ideal. Why don't you talk more about that?
Yeah, thank you, Stu. Absolutely. And it's really actually a good segue from Fred talking about social, and I'm going to tell you how to stay away from social. No, I'm kidding. But I am going to give you some points and some things I want to talk about digital detox. And starting with January to me is like a cleansing month. It's new, everything's fresh, it's like a whole new year. So now's the time to be thinking about a digital detox. And really, what is a digital detox? It's a temporary break from devices, okay? And this can be email, I mean, of course, handheld, and then, of course, your email, your social, the news. any type of other types of social, such as X, threads, that type of thing as well, where it's just quick little conversations. Detoxing from those type of things. And why does that matter, do you think? Basically, think about this, and this is happening to me as I'm talking. Notifications are coming across my phone, and it's driving me crazy. So I turn that over, and detoxing from notifications alone. Ooh. Yes, they're important, but do you really need to know every time somebody posted something or do you really need to know that? That's a personal choice. But to me, I don't think I need to know that. It depends on who it is and what it is, but I think you can kind of weed through some of that, if that makes sense. You can filter out people who are not that important of getting a notification from. So that's one. Fred, go ahead.
I dare to say here that my day might be more peaceful if I'm not so wrapped up in my notifications.
Yeah, I have found that.
We in our courses, we talk about this all the time. Strategic focus. My God, every time you get a notification, it's like oh, squirrel. You're suddenly distracted into something that you think is important, but it's not. But it feels urgent. Our free seminar course does go into that, but that's perfect, Gary. Barry, it takes you away from the real job that you got to do that day.
Yeah, absolutely. Because say you're working on an escrow, and you want notifications from another agent who you're working with or something like that, but we don't need to know every time they posted social. Other reasons for a mental or a digital detox is mental and emotional benefits alone. I mean, just reduces anxiety, because honestly, I'm looking at my phone turned over, and now I want to know if I'm getting any notifications. So I'm like sliding it across the room. Now I can't even see it.
More distance. More distance.
So physical and health benefits as well. Oh. As you can see, I had to put on my glasses. I have good vision, but I've had to put these on because I'm constantly, again, looking at the screen. I'm looking at a screen now, looking at another screen over here. So reducing eye strain. And again, so we're talking about reasons to digitally detox. However, how do you do it? How do you pick and choose what's important, what's not important? Any thoughts out there on that?
Well, I think if you look at your sphere of influence and who those people are in your most inner circle, we've talked about this before, and those are the people that have you've nurtured them enough that you think, and they've responded to you, that they probably trust you. Okay. They've liked you for a long time. Okay. But now they trust you. You've been providing that value through your interactions with them. If they text you or call you or send you an email, you want to respond to that quickly. You don't want to let that go. So that's an important notification that you want to make sure you don't drop. Correct?
Correct. Totally.
Just a little added bonus here for everybody out there that's in the Apple iPhone world. If you want to minimize your distractions and your anxiety from notifications, there's a new setting back there. Hey, would you like me to screen your phone calls for you? Yes. How about it? Yep. It is
day long.
Your phone won't ring. You'll just get little communication there on the top that says, "Hey, this might be a weirdo. Don't answer that. Would you like me to?" Yep. And that's really helped a lot in the last few weeks here in my neck of the woods.
Yeah, absolutely. One other item that I do this quite often. Oh, I'm sorry, Ellen. Go ahead.
That's okay, Barry. That's okay. I was thinking that two things. One of the things is if you're working on something and if you've got your phone right there, like I have mine right here, it's on its little stand and I'm seeing it light up right now. Anytime you're distracted, if you're working on something, you've been involved in it, you're filling out a form or you're reading something important, anytime you're distracted away and then you come back to it, it takes you several minutes to get back to where you were before. So that is a huge time waster in a day where we have 24 hours with which to use. to keep wasting time by going back and forth. So setting it somewhere you can't see it or hear it for a certain period of time. You could even set a timer and then go back and check what's happened. And if you do have, like I have young adult children who if they need me, I want to hear it. You can choose those people that can break through your wall, so to speak. The other thing is back to the 24 hours in a day, being online, using your phone, checking social media or whatever, the news, whatever, that's all a choice. It's a choice that you're making. And you're choosing to do that instead of choosing to do something else. And when you're working in real estate, as we do, you're supposed to be building your business every day. It's your number one priority is generating leads. That's what you're supposed to be focusing on. And yes, your social media, if used correctly, can be used in that way. However, it's just one small segment of your building your business pie, right? So every time you're on your phone, that means you're not doing something else to build your business, something that might be more effective than what you're looking at your phone to do. So it's all just a choice. And we've all talked about, if television is a black hole you get sucked into, your phone is worse. It's just worse because it's with us all the time.
That's perfect. Let's face it. You're an independent contractor. You're running a business. You're not having someone telling you what to do. My goodness, take control of that and drive your own bus and say, no, I am not going to do emails. Or maybe I'll do them for half an hour in the morning. And then I'm done. I am done. That kind of thing. Barry, you got another point? Because we're going to keep moving on here.
Speaking of email, that's which will be probably my last point on this subject, is unsubscribe from the emails that you do not need. Okay, now, of course, not an ace email because our emails are providing value. But there's a lot of emails that come across that do not. And I found a really good way to do this because that takes time as well to unsubscribe. So what I do, I created a specific email box, and anything that I'm not sure about, I move to that box. And then at the end of the month, I go through that box and I read through them. I unsubscribe to everything. And then the box is cleaned out. Then I start again. And that really keeps my emails down. And so because you suddenly, you step away and then you look down and you have 35 emails that just came through and you're just like, what is this? Unless it's something specific you were, expecting. But a lot of times it's just noise. The less noise, reduce the noise is a good way really to digitally detox.
Awesome. Hey, we're chugging on time here. So Barry, you get the...
Oh, good.
All right, perfect. That's good. Yeah, come on. We like to be silly. All right, so a couple more things that we would like to talk about. I'm going to jump in very quickly, and then I'm going to throw it over to Ellen. But what I'd like to bring to this meeting is that admit it, you're not perfect. Is it time for an intervention? And when I talk about an intervention, I'm not talking about your spouse, your family, your kids, your dog. I'm talking about an intervention with yourself, okay? And being able to sit down and be real and to be honest with who you are and what you're doing in your business, okay? There was a consultant that I worked with a number of years ago that gave me a phrase and a thought that stuck with me, and it is one of the best things that I've heard in a long time. I'm not going to name him here because we talked about not naming specific people, but he said to me, everyone wants to be a perfectionist in our business, and we think about that's how we get better than the other agent down the block. But you spend so much time tweaking that last 2%. Don't be a perfectionist. Be an excellentist. And I said to myself, my goodness, that's a great bit of advice, because what it says is you could be kicking it at 85% and growing your business and not worrying about that other 15%. I mean, eventually you can always improve. But when you get out there, don't hold stuff back just because it's not perfect. That doesn't affect your image that much. So if you have an idea of what your gaps are, what you need in terms of your education, That's an important place to go. Ellen's going to talk about that a little bit in her section. But that's what we need. Be excellent about what you're doing, but don't worry about hitting it at that 100% level because you'll waste way too much time. Now, another thing about self-awareness that I'd like to talk about as you get into 2026, people have said to me, well, Stu, what makes someone a successful career agent? By the way, I'm hearing a lot of background noise from somebody. I'm not sure who online is, but we'd all mute a little bit. That'll be helpful. Anyway, what does success mean? And it's most agents say, well, I've closed 100 deals. And that's great. You can do that. But most of us, particularly in the early years of our career, are not closing that many deals, and it doesn't feel like a success. Well, I'm going to be doing a video and posting it online shortly that we have called the 6 immutable truths about becoming a successful real estate agent. These are the 6 points that tell you, yeah, you're in the game now. You beat the odds. You're in the 20% club. I'm not going to go through all the detail, but let me rattle them off real quick so you have a feeling for what they are. Number 1, you don't have any more significant financial pressures. Okay. Now, if you're independently wealthy, don't listen to that point, but most of us are not. And it's paying your mortgage. It's doing your car payment. It's feeding your family. It's all of those things. And if you're a real estate agent and you're 6 months going and you haven't closed a deal, it's hard. You're tapping into savings, or your spouse or partner saying, hey, what's going on? So that's what we mean. The financial pressures go away. You're making enough money to call it a career. Number 2, those pressures do go away. They stop asking you, how long are you going to be in real estate before you get a real job? So those questions start to go away. You are no longer considered a rookie amongst your brokerage and the other realtors in your market. They know you've been around the block. They trust you. They don't look at you, oh, that's the new kid. So when that disappears, you know you're surviving as a career agent. The next one is, you know your stuff. I mean, you can answer a lot of the questions. The dumb questions go away. I still have dumb questions, by the way, not 100%. But the point is, you know what to do when you sit down and meet people. Okay, that's really important. And then number 5 is you finally have confidence. You walk into an open house, you know what you're doing. You talk to a senior agent, you know what you're doing. The broker calls you into their office. You're not worried about it. You know what you're doing, and you've had success. So being aware of those 5, and this is number 6, having that self-awareness is what the real successful agents have. And that's what we're asking you, all of those of you who are listening today, to start to think about. It's not just the transactions. Of course, that's the quantifiable thing that we measure. But those other things are also key indicators that you're doing the right things. You set the right strategies at the beginning of the year. You're allocating your time correctly. Clients are responding correctly. Your sphere of influence is growing because those 6 things are becoming less and less of a problem. It doesn't happen overnight. Be patient. This is a long-term game. But those immutable truths exist. I don't care what market you're in. I don't care what broker you're working with. In many ways, I don't care how long you've been in the business. If you make those truths come true for you and transcend those problems, you're in the game. So that's a very, very important thing to start thinking about. So stop thinking about being a millionaire tomorrow. Stop thinking, oh, I'll just flip one $10 million property and I'll be fine for 2 years. No, don't worry about buying that fancy car. Just focus on the things that are going to make you stick around in this business long term and make you happy. All right. Well, that was my blab. Fred, what do you got?
Well, you talked about self-awareness, and right now, how long are you going to stick around in this business, right? It made me think of our newly revamped, for aspiring agents, we have a self-audit agent checklist.
Cool.
So there's quite a few points on there. I think it's an 11-point checklist that you can go down, see if you have that armor. If you do, check it. If you don't, be honest, don't check it. There's no, what would it say on there? Partial credit in the real world? Nope, doesn't exist. So take that self-awareness survival audit if you're an agent, and see what you come up with, and we might get you a free gift.
Awesome, Fred.
Resource.
You get this. All right. I'm going to pass it on to Miss Ellen. Miss Ellen's going to talk about, are you pointing yourself in the right direction for this year coming up? What you got, Ellen?
Thank you, Stu. And this is a great follow-up to your immutable truths about how you know when you make it. Because some people who are listening to us right now, the title of this podcast was like, was you a top producer, or was this year a dumpster fire? And I'm guessing for some of you, you're feeling dumpster fire-ish. So the thing is, I want you to think about.
By the way, just want to let you know.
Yes. And in this business, it can be back and forth and back and forth. So some years are dumpster fires and some years you're top producer. But I want you to think about, if you're listening right now, where you want to be at this time next year, besides 1 year older, which you're going to be no matter what happens. But where do you want to be? And what are you doing right now? Or what are you planning for 2026 right now that's going to get you where you want to be? If you're going to think if you don't have a new plan, if all you've got is what you've been doing this year, you're going to end up exactly where you are now next year too. And you'll be a year older and nothing's changed in your business. You haven't gained momentum. You're still on the edge there. Maybe your spouse or partner is getting a little more strident about how much longer are you going to be doing this. So that's what I'm going to talk about right now, because it all comes down to positioning, not just what you're doing, but whether the skills you have support where you want your business to go. And if they don't, what are you going to do about it? I mean, education is what you're going to do about it. If you're listening to us, it supports the future version of your business. So you stop reacting day to day. You stop running around doing this, doing that, doing that. You actually start. Go ahead. Go ahead.
I love that. That's a great point. It just stop. We all just react. It's like it's listening to those dumb notifications that come in all the time. Don't react.
Exactly. Reaction doesn't get anywhere, right?
Go ahead, Ellen. I'm sorry.
Absolutely.
That was so good.
No.
I just had to say something.
No, that's perfectly fine. I'm glad you did. So basically, you either need to choose to learn some new skills or strengthen ones you already have. Like you've already dipped your toe into, say, personal branding, but it's not where it needs to be. You need to think about that. You need to be honest with yourself. The same strategies over and over are not doing it for you. So you need to change. For 2026, get started on, I'm going to do something different this year. I'm going to build some new skills. I'm going to strengthen the skills I've got so I can really start building my business to be in a different place next year. So you want to have a different level of income. You want to have some sort of success. You want to have a better schedule. So maybe you don't feel like you have to work 24 hours a day just to try to get ahead in this business. So think about future-facing skills. And ask yourself also, here's another point about education. What are clients going to expect from their agents in 2026? The business is changing. The world is changing. AI is now it's part of my everyday life, and I'm not a techie person. So I think we're all getting used to that. We're turning to it as a tool. It's changing everything. And this business is changing as well. So what do you need to learn to stay relevant so that you can also continue to succeed and be a top producer instead of a dumpster fire next year? And I wanted to talk about another thing. This is my second point. A lot of agents think, well, I have to take my continuing education every 2 year, 3 year, whatever state you're in, whatever the renewal cycle is. And my broker offers some training as well. So I'll take that. That's not going to cut it anymore. Maybe it used to, but it's not going to cut it anymore. Your CE and your broker training tend to lean towards legalities or policies and procedures at the brokerage, keeping you compliant with the law, keeping you legal, keeping you licensed, and keeping your broker licensed as well. It does not tend to focus on what you need to do to be successful in real estate. It just focuses on those main two things. So don't just rely on what you have to take or what your brokerage is offering. You need to spread out some. You need to look for other sources of education. Look who's offering what you need to be better in this business. And I'm going to stop right there and see if anybody has something else to add about that. Because y'all just kind of moved forward towards the camera. So I think you have something to add. Go.
Well,
we're enthralled. It's all good stuff. Barry, go ahead.
well, I was just going to say, I just completed 30 hours of broker continuing education for the state of Arizona. And it was the most dry thing I ever sat through. But so to your point is very well taken. I think whoever, like, there was not one class on AI or coming AI, AI in real estate. I think whoever going forward can starts mastering the AI piece and how it works well within the real estate realm will be far ahead. I mean, because that's really where everything is. This whole economy, everything is just kind of like people. I feel they're waiting to do things because they're kind of like, well, maybe AI can do something or help me or something. So it's just, I think that's where it's at. It's my opinion.
Fred, you got something?
Going back to the education thing right there. If there's a common thread amongst all these top producers, my hunch is they are the select few, and the key word is few agents that are out there listening. Few. They are the select few that did not stop learning after pre-license. They did not stop learning after pre-license. What do we say, Stu, on our homepage? Pre-license school taught you the law.
Right.
Brokers teach you
Compliance.
ACE teaches you the business. No one's going to teach you how to get a commission. They're just going to teach you how to get them in trouble.
They apply that, well, here's a script. But what we found through our students, as soon as you tell your script and you're 20 seconds done with it, now what do I do? And suddenly the client starts to ask particularly challenging questions. So exactly that, Fred. The person that decides, and that 20% that really does continue as a career, they've never stopped learning, and they have that self-awareness that says, oh man, I really need to start learning about how to deal with seniors better because I keep seeing that in my sphere of influence. Or watch what I would say to those listening, look at some patterns that you've seen over the last year or two. If suddenly you realize, 70% of my closed deals have been condos, but I haven't positioned myself as an expert in condos. Maybe I ought to learn a little bit more and really, dial that in. Doesn't mean you're leaving business behind. Doesn't mean you won't take on a small single family house or a big mansion or something. But maybe there's a little bit of magic and focus that has taken place and you haven't really leaned into it yet. That's what Ellen is talking about.
Yeah.
Find those little nuggets and then find the education that'll help elevate you within that focus. That's what's really smart and strategic about stepping into the next year. Ellen,
I'm glad you all brought up the top producers, because that's actually my last point is that we call top producers at ACE the 20% club, because give or take a few little percentage points, the top 20%, those 20%, those are the people that are really making it in this business. They are checking the boxes of those immutable truths. They've checked them all. So that's really the 20%, the top 20% in real estate. So those folks, just like Fred said, they realized right away, I need more. I need to know more than what's expected or required of me by my license or by my broker. I need more if I'm going to be successful in this. In fact, they're pretty honest about where they're weakest. I don't know how to do that very well. And if I'm going to make it, I need to learn how to do that thing very well, whatever it is.
Again, self-awareness, time for your own personal intervention. And it doesn't mean that's a bad thing. In fact, it's probably one of the best things you could do at the beginning of the year.
Yeah. So they're purposeful about it. They don't just randomly choose some things to take. They're purposeful about educating themselves on a continuous basis. So they're always at the top of their game, which keeps them at the top of the 20%. And that's all I've got. So,
I just wanted to
add a point. Go.
Yeah, well, I just wanted to point out, I think the 20% figure is probably generous in this current environment. I think we're probably looking at maybe 10 to 12% club.
Yeah.
I mean, no,
Yeah.
I'm not making
It's
light
true.
of it. It's a serious.
No, I think you're right. I
It's
do.
a very serious. When you look at, I keep seeing these stats. 87% of agents haven't sold a house all year or something, or a property or whatever, all year. Well, that's a lot.
Well,
so
Ellen,
that needs to change.
yeah, Ellen deserves applause for her little section, but Barry brings a fact that we got to give a con to.
Oh, absolutely.
Not good. Don't become part of that 80 to 90% that quit. You don't have to do it.
Yeah.
But you got to find the education. Fred, we've got a couple minutes left. I think you had a couple of points you wanted to make about building trust in your sphere of influence.
I'm so glad you said trust right now, because when Ellen mentioned lead generation earlier, and I think this might have been at the beginning of the Keller Williams book, the book by Gary Keller, The One Thing. The one thing that it's always taught to agents that they have to master first before anything is lead gen.
Mhm.
I think that's wrong. I think it's false. Lead gen is not the first thing an agent should master. I'll tell you, I'm the marketing guy. I'm not the guy that goes and sells houses. I'm not the guy that knows the law. But
So
I'm
what
going
do
to
you
tell
think,
you
Fred?
from outside looking in, it's the T word. You've got to build trust.
Yeah,
If you don't do things to build trust, you can have a bajillion leads. How are you going to convert them?
Yeah, no, it's right. You're absolutely right.
Mhm.
If you don't get your relationship nurtured process, and that's what we all talk about, to the point where they trust you, you could have thousands of people think, "Oh, Stu, you're such a nice guy," and we'll never do business with you because, again,
Right.
sister's first cousin is where the business is going to go. You got to be able to crack that code, and that trust is how you do it. Yep.
What's that saying you have, Stu? Like, trust to do business? That's
Yeah, well,
domino.
A lot of companies have done this, but it's the first thing you do. You got to get them to know you. Hi.
Yes.
Thanks for coming in my open house. Blah 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 blah. Then you got to get them to like you. So you need to ask them questions and be able to communicate in a way that you're not annoying and all those things that realtors can be accused of. And then once they like you, then you have the permission, because you start to send them valuable information or communication. Then over time, they start to trust you. Maybe overdo it, you may blow it. But the point is, these things can't happen immediately. If I just walk up to Fred and say, "Hi, Fred, my name's Stu. I live around here." You think he trusts me? Not yet. I've got to do something behaviorally to prove to him that I'm worthy of his trust and that I respect him enough to earn that trust. So once you get to that level of they trust you, they still may not do business with you, but you're now at a point where they will give you permission to push a little bit harder to earn their business. And that's the core of it.
I would also say this, and it may sound crazy, and I didn't run this by myself or anything earlier, so it's going out full blast here. We get this title when we get our license, right? Called real estate salesperson.
Yeah.
Don't be one.
Yeah.
Don't be one. Work on trust first.
Yeah.
Do not be one. That's my advice.
Well, I've said to some of the people, over the years, all the people that I've trained, I said, look, you've got an accountant, you've got a lawyer, you've got the traffic cop down the street, you've got your auto mechanic, you got your dentist. You need to be the real estate person in someone's family or in their life. And how do you become that? Because things are so transactional. Well, I bought a house, but then I never spoke to my real estate agent ever again. Shame on that agent. That agent just sold that person a house and they've trusted them with their money and the transaction. That's a perfect time to continue that. Now, maybe it's not as frequent, but the point is that's where a lot of agents let the ball drop. Barry, you had a point you wanted to make.
Don't be a salesperson. However, you should be selling one thing and one thing only, and that's yourself.
Yes.
Right?
Yeah.
The property you are showing will sell itself. You're pointing out things, but you're selling yourself. That's what you need to be selling.
Yeah, and it does sound a little bit cliche, but it's based on truth.
Well,
The agents that understand, it's not as simple. We laugh about this at ACE. I'm the agent you can trust. I am your neighborhood expert. I mean, every darn agent says that stuff. So how do you transcend that? You have to do other things. Fred, what do you got?
Well, it goes back to the content. It goes back to what you're sharing. And I would say I read in Marcus Sheridan's Endless Customers book. Don't position yourself as that sell salesperson. Position yourself as the education source or as the media company that's just sharing all this font of knowledge of real estate with you.
Yeah.
That will turn into just endless customers for you.
And
Quit
once,
being a salesperson. Share the right type of content. Dive into our ACE Essentials courses. We've got great stuff on social media there.
but once you've
yeah.
done a transaction with a client, then you have permission to be their lifetime consultant.
Yep.
You know, if they ever have a question, hey, Stu, I saw a house 3 miles away. We're not thinking about moving, but what does a house like that go for? I want that call.
Yep.
I want them to call me, and I'm not going to try. Well, if you think about listing your house, I didn't know you were thinking. No, I'm not going to push them on that. I'm just going to be there for them whenever they've got a question relative to the United States real estate market, AI's influence. Will agents be, replaced by the internet? All this stuff we've been dealing with over the years, all the way down to, you know what? We're not going to sell for another 5 years, but what do you think my house is worth now? That's the kind of stuff you want. Those phone calls, you want those emails from those clients, and that when you become their lifetime consultant, you've scored. They are now in the center of your bullseye. But don't get lazy, because they can flop out very easily and be romanced by somebody else very quickly. And that's why we say this is one of the toughest market share games in the business. You have to constantly be out there without driving them nuts. Well, is there one more point anybody wants to make? Because I'm about ready to be respectful to our time and wind this down. But this has been good. I've been very happy with everybody's contributions, and those of you who are listening, we appreciate your hanging in there. Look, we do these learning lounges once a month, and the idea is to not make them brutally serious or stressful. This is fun. I mean, if any of you have suggestions, we'd love to hear from you at some point, and we'll do topics. But one of the perspectives and the philosophy that we've created with our education company is we're not going to feed you scripts. You can get scripts anywhere. In fact, you probably should create your own, because Fred said, be yourself. And as we say, as soon as you've said the script, now what do you do? And that's where a lot of agents fail. The brokers and the coaches don't give you those continuing conversations when the real tough questions come. The next thing we're not going to do is I'm not going to tell you to make more phone calls. We're not going to tell you to go out and door knock. That's a lot of hooey. I'm sorry. That's the lazy person's way to get at it. And that's why we say we're not, you've heard of big pharma, big coaching. We're not going to give you all these crazy objectives that you're going to hate trying to do. We're going to tell you how to act and behave and be out there and deliver the value and the trust that you deserve from your actions. Okay. Hey, if you like what we do, please tell the people in your brokerage, tell your friends who are real estate agents, hey, these people are okay. They're fun. We're not out to hard sell you. We're out to make you more successful, because we are there. I mean, Barry and I are still licensed brokers. We don't sell as much as we used to, but we're still in the game. We know what it was like, and we made it into the 20% club, but we had to really fight and claw our way there. And one of the things that we've seen over time is the concept and the culture of having mentors has gone away in our business, which is too bad. Brokers have gotten lazy about it. Agents don't want to be mentors anymore. No one sits in the car next to you for hours and tells you about why that phone call was a real brutal phone call with that client. But that's how you learn this stuff. And that's what we want to be. We want to be digital mentors for you here at ACE. So I think that's all we've got. We'll be posting on our website and on social when the next Learning Lounge is going to pop up. It's going to be in the first half of January. I'm not sure whether we've got a date established for that yet, but that'll be on our website. We're at www.agentcareereducation.com, and we got fun stuff. So take a look at what we're doing out there. And before I sign off, anybody else have anything else they want to add before we we say goodbye until a month from now. Silence is golden. I love
Silence
it.
is
Hey,
golden.
this has been a blast. Close your year down with a smile. Hug your family. Hug your friends. Take your dog for a long walk. Remember, we really do believe that being a real estate agent is a higher calling. I don't care what anyone else says. We are good people, and we help people with the biggest financial decision that they make in their lives, and that is a noble calling. Have fun with it. Stick with us, and you will be part of the 20% club. Merry Christmas, Happy Holidays, Happy New Year, and we'll see you in a few weeks. Take care.
Thank you.
Bye.